Welcome back to the Before AGI podcast. Today we are diving into a question that has been making the rounds lately. Will AI ever reach human-level intelligence?
Yeah, it's a big one.
It really is, and we've got a ton of material to dig into here.
You've sent over a mountain of articles and research papers, even some expert opinions, and
We're going to break it all down.
we'll try to break it all down for you.
That's the mission.
Exactly. What I find really interesting is just how many different perspectives are represented in the stuff you've shared.
Yeah, right.
I mean, you've got people predicting like major AI breakthroughs in just a few years, and then others who think it's still decades away.
Yeah, and it's not even just about the timeline. It's about how we even get there.
Right.
Some people are arguing that just scaling up our current AI systems, throwing more data at it.
More computing power.
Yeah, that'll eventually lead us to human-level intelligence. But others think we need some, totally new approaches. But even before we go there, shouldn't we even define what we mean by intelligence in the first place?
You're absolutely right.
Because what are we even talking about?
Yeah. One of the articles you sent really highlights this idea called Moravec's paradox, and it's pretty interesting. It kind of flips the script on how we usually think about intelligence.
Yeah? How so?
Well, we tend to assume that tasks that are difficult for us humans must also be difficult for AI, right? But that's not always the case.
Like, I can barely remember my multiplication tables.
Right.
And a computer can multiply 6-digit numbers in a fraction of a second.
Exactly. But then think about something like recognizing a face in a crowd.
Oh, yeah.
We do it without even thinking about it.
Easy.
But it's taken AI a long time to even come close to our abilities there. So Moravec's paradox basically shows us that what's easy for us can be incredibly complex for machines.
And vice versa.
And vice versa, yeah.
So it's not just about raw processing power then. This is making me wonder, are we even asking the right question when we talk about AI reaching human-level intelligence? Is that even the right way to think about it?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
I mean, human intelligence, it's so multifaceted, right?
It's not just about solving for X.
Yeah, it's not just about solving math problems or playing chess or,
It's about creativity and empathy.
Exactly. Understanding social cues.
Yeah.
All these subtle things that are really hard to even define,
Right.
let alone replicate in a machine.
So maybe we need to unpack this whole intelligence thing a little bit more.
Yeah.
I noticed a few of the sources categorize AI into 3 different types.
Right.
Narrow AI, general AI, and super AI. And most of what we're interacting with today, I guess, falls under narrow AI, right?
Right. These are systems that are designed to be really good at one specific task.
Like I use a narrow AI every morning to tell me the traffic.
Right.
And another one to recommend new music.
Yeah, great examples. And they can be super powerful within that limited domain.
Right.
But a narrow AI designed to play chess can't suddenly turn around and write poetry.
Right.
That's where this idea of general AI comes in.
Okay, so general AI would be like a machine that could not only beat a grandmaster at chess, but also write a best-selling novel and compose a symphony all at the same time?
Well, in theory, yes. General AI is about possessing those human-like cognitive abilities across a wide range of domains. It's about being able to learn, adapt, and solve problems in lots of different situations.
Like humans do.
Yeah, just like humans do.
That sounds so complex. And a little intimidating, if I'm being honest.
It is complex, and it's still largely theoretical. I mean, we haven't actually achieved general AI yet.
Right.
And there's a lot of debate about how close we really are.
Well, some of the sources you sent seem pretty optimistic about it.
Yeah.
There's this whole idea of the scaling hypothesis.
Right.
Basically, that if we just throw more data and computing power at the problem, that will eventually get us to AGI.
And there is some pretty compelling evidence starting to emerge that actually supports that. And we're seeing these huge language models.
Like GPT-4.
Yeah, like GPT-4 getting more and more capable as they're trained on larger and larger data sets.
Okay, so is it just that bigger is better? Just keep feeding the AI more information and it'll eventually be as smart as us?
Well, it might not be quite that simple.
Okay.
But, while scaling does seem to be playing a role, there are still some fundamental challenges that we need to address.
Like what?
Well, for one thing, even the most advanced AI systems still struggle with things like common sense reasoning.
Oh, really?
And understanding context in the way that humans do. They can process information incredibly quickly, but they lack the deeper understanding and intuition that we often take for granted.
So they can ace a standardized test?
Right.
But they can't tell you why a joke is funny.
Pretty much, yeah. And that's why many researchers believe we need more than just bigger data sets and faster processors. We need fundamental breakthroughs in our algorithms.
Okay.
And a deeper understanding of how our own brains actually work.
This reminds me of that one article you sent me that compared like the wetware of our brains to the silicon-based hardware of computers. And it basically said comparing those two might be like comparing apples and oranges.
Exactly. I mean, they're fundamentally different systems.
Right.
Machines excel at processing speed and memory capacity.
Okay.
While our brains are incredibly efficient in terms of energy consumption and adaptability.
So we're good at different things.
Yeah, we're good at different things.
So is it even a fair fight? Are we setting AI up for failure by expecting it to be like human-like? Maybe artificial intelligence will look totally different from our own.
That's a really interesting question.
Yeah.
And it's definitely something we'll keep exploring as we dig deeper into all this research.
Oh.
But for now, I think it's important to remember that we're still in the early stages of AI development.
Right.
You know, there's still so much we don't know.
That's true.
It sounds like we're just at the tip of the iceberg here.
Yeah.
I haven't even talked about all the potential, like, societal and ethical implications of all this yet.
Right. That's a whole other...
It's a whole other can of worms.
Can of worms, exactly.
Right.
But before we open that...
Yeah, before we go there.
Let's take a look at some of the predictions about the future of AI.
Right.
Like, how close are we really to seeing these science fiction scenarios?
Okay.
Of these, like, super intelligent machines?
That's what I'm talking about. Let's get into it.
You know, one of the articles actually dives into this forecasting model.
Oh, yeah?
From a group called Epoch.
Okay.
And they suggest that we might be closer than we think to what they call transformative AI.
Transformative AI. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm listening.
So basically, they're talking about AI that's so powerful that it fundamentally reshapes society.
Wow.
As we know it.
Like how so?
Think major economic disruption, huge scientific breakthroughs, even changes to our political systems.
Whoa, that's like next level stuff. It is.
But a lot of the other experts we've talked about seem much more cautious.
Yeah.
Saying that AGI is still like decades away.
Yeah, and they raise some good points.
Yeah.
You know, we're still struggling with those fundamental challenges.
Right.
Like, how do we teach AI common sense reasoning?
Right.
And how do we get them to really understand context? Those aren't easy problems to solve.
It feels like there's this tension between the incredible progress we're seeing in AI, you know, especially with these large language models,
right,
and then all the things that are still like really hard for AI to grasp.
Exactly. And that's why you see predictions about AGI's arrival are all over the place.
Oh, it's all over the map.
It's hard to be precise.
So how do we navigate this uncertainty then? What are the like practical implications for, you know, someone like me? I'm not building AI systems, but I'm going to be impacted by them.
Yeah, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? I think regardless of the timeline, the potential impact of advanced AI is huge.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's not just about robots taking our jobs.
Right, although that is a valid concern.
It is a valid concern, yeah. One of the reports you sent from Goldman Sachs estimates that AI could potentially replace the equivalent of 300 million full-time jobs globally.
Oh, wow.
It's a lot.
Yeah, that's a huge number.
Yeah, it really underscores the need for us to be proactive about how we adapt our education systems, our economies, even our social safety nets, to prepare for a world where AI plays a much bigger role.
So it's not just about the technology itself.
No.
It's about how we choose to use it.
Yeah, exactly. We need to be having conversations about ethical AI development, ensuring fairness and transparency in algorithms, and addressing potential biases.
Yeah, this is making me think about all those sci-fi movies where AI becomes like this all-powerful force that controls everything.
Right.
Like, is that where we're headed?
I think it's important to separate science fiction from reality.
Yeah,
But I do think those stories can serve as cautionary tales. They remind us that we need to be intentional about the kind of future we're creating.
We don't want to, like, sleepwalk into some dystopian future.
Exactly.
Just because we're excited about new gadgets.
No, and that's why I think it's so crucial to have these conversations now, while we're still in the relatively early stages of AI development.
So we can kind of steer things in the right direction.
Exactly. We have a real opportunity to shape how this technology is used.
It feels like this conversation is much bigger than just, will AI ever be as smart as us?
Yeah.
It's like about the future of humanity.
You got it. I couldn't agree more.
Wow.
I mean, the question of whether AI will reach human-level intelligence is super fascinating.
For sure.
But the even bigger question is, What kind of world do we want to create with this intelligence?
Ooh, okay, that gives me chills.
Right?
I guess that's what this whole before AGI thing is all about, right?
I think so.
Thinking critically about the choices we're making today.
Yeah, and being proactive about it.
Yeah.
Anticipating the potential challenges and the opportunities.
Right. And taking steps to shape the future we want to see.
It's like we're standing at the edge of this uncharted territory.
Yeah.
We have no idea what's out there.
Right.
But we have the power to choose our course.
I love that analogy. I think it's a really good one.
And I think these sources you sent really highlight the importance of, like, informed decision-making.
Absolutely.
Like, we need to understand AI
Yeah.
and all its complexities, the potential benefits and the risks, so we can make good choices.
Right. Choices that benefit everyone.
This has been so thought-provoking.
It has been a good conversation.
Really? I mean, the
Yeah.
future of AI is not just some abstract concept, right?
No, it's not.
It's something that will impact all of our lives.
It will.
So before we go too far down the rabbit hole here,
Yeah, let's bring it back.
let's circle back to our original question.
Okay.
Based on everything we've explored so far, do you think AI will eventually reach human-level intelligence?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I gotta say, after diving deep into all this research,
Yeah.
I don't think there's an easy yes or no answer.
Okay, so no spoilers.
No spoilers.
But can you give us some hints at least? Like, what are the key takeaways for our listener as they're trying to make sense of all this?
I think the biggest takeaway is that the future of AI is not set in stone. It's
Yeah.
something that we are all actively shaping.
So it's not about just waiting to see what happens.
No.
It's about participating
Yes.
in making that future.
And that's what's so exciting about all this.
I agree.
It's not just about the technology, it's about human agency.
Right.
We have the power to decide how this all unfolds.
I think you've given our listeners a lot to think about.
I hope so.
This has been a wild ride.
It has.
So much information, so many different perspectives,
Yeah.
but we're not done yet.
Not even close.
There's still so much to explore.
Especially when it comes to the practical implications of all this, for everyday life.
That's right. So we'll be back after a quick message
Sounds good.
to wrap things up and share our final thoughts on whether AI will ever truly reach human-level intelligence.
Looking forward to it.
Stay tuned. Okay, we are back and ready to wrap up our deep dive into the world of AI. No more cliffhangers. Let's get straight to it. So, based on everything we've talked about, do you think AI will eventually reach human-level intelligence?
After going through all this research with you, I've realized that just asking yes or no is kind of missing the point.
Okay, so what's the bigger picture then?
I think it's less about if and more about when and how.
Okay.
Pretty much every expert agrees that AI is changing really fast.
Yeah.
And it's only getting more powerful.
It feels like we're on this, unstoppable train heading toward more and more sophisticated AI.
Right, and think about how far we've come already.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I mean, a few years ago, the stuff that GPT-4 can do sounded like pure science fiction.
It really would have, and if we've come this far this fast, who knows what the future holds?
Exactly, and that's why it's so important to talk about responsible AI development, because as AI gets more powerful, the stakes get higher.
You've said that a few times, and it's worth repeating. I think it's not just about building smarter machines.
No, it's not.
It's about making sure those machines are working for us, not against us.
Right, and aligning with our values.
Exactly, and that's why I think this whole before AGI idea is so important. It's about looking ahead and figuring out how to navigate all this.
Being proactive.
Yeah.
Anticipating challenges and opportunities.
It's like we're exploring this totally new frontier.
It is uncharted territory.
And we have no idea what's out there, but we get to choose our path.
I like that. And the research you shared really drives home the point that we need to be making informed decisions.
Yes.
We got to understand the nuances of AI, the good and the bad,
right,
so we can steer things in the right direction.
This whole conversation has been amazing.
Me too.
It's so clear that the future of AI is going to touch every part of our lives.
Absolutely. And I hope our discussion has gotten you thinking about all this.
And that you'll keep the conversation going.
You've given our listeners a lot to consider.
Good.
So if you had to pick just one thing for them to take away from all this, what would it be?
I think the most important thing to remember is that we all have a role to play in shaping the future of AI.
So it's not just something that's happening to us.
Right.
We have a say in how it all unfolds.
Exactly. Stay informed, stay curious, and stay engaged.
Love it. And that brings us to the end of our deep dive into the amazing world of AI. Hope you found it insightful and maybe even a little bit inspiring.
Me too.
And if you want to keep learning about AI and how these systems really work, you should definitely check out Ian Ochieng's YouTube channel.
He does great work.
He really breaks things down in a way that anyone can understand. You can find a link to his channel in the show notes.
Okay.
And of course, don't forget to subscribe to Before AGI for more deep dives into the world of tech and how it's changing the world. Until next time, keep those minds curious and keep exploring.